Well, hello. I just want to start by saying I'm very sorry the lighting is very terrible right now. So as you know, I am here to do a critic on the Count of Monte Cristo movie, and I would like to start off with saying what Edmond Dante said, which was, prepare for adventure and count on revenge. Which is funny because the book's called The Count of Monte Cristo. Ha ha ha. Ha. So in 1844, Alexander Dumas wrote the book The Count of Monte Cristo. And after that came many abridged versions and edited versions of the exact same book. And eventually, people realized that it was such a classic novel that they decided to make a movie out of it. So we're going to be analyzing the one from 2002, and the director was Kevin Reynolds, and it carried the exact same title, The Count of Monte Cristo. So while I was watching the movie, I realized that there were plenty of similarities and many differences. And I want to start off with the differences today. So I noticed that the book spends a lot more time on the revenge than when he was in jail. And in the movie, they spend a lot more time on when Edmund is in jail instead of his revenge. But honestly, this makes sense because people can get away with writing an 800-page book, but nobody's going to want to watch an 8-hour movie. So they definitely have to spend less time on their whole revenge part and focus evenly on each, like the prison part and then the revenge part. So after I watched the movie, I realized that in the book, Edmund spends a lot more time with his plan on his revenge. Like, it's more intricate and he took a lot more patience. But when you watch the movie, it happens very fast, and he uses violence and like sword fights, and we didn't see like any of that in the book. We just saw like his patience and how he personally attacked everybody and took advantage of them. And another small detail I noticed is the way that Edmund's father passes away. So in the movie, it becomes clear that Edmund's father commits suicide, which definitely doesn't happen in the book. He actually dies from starving to death in the book because he didn't have enough money because he had to pay people back for his debts. In addition, Edmund is not exactly sure what the motive for his revenge is, but in the book, he repeats several times that it's God's will and that it's God's work in carrying out his vengeance and stuff, but in the movie, he doesn't really know, like, he doesn't mention much of God. So now I'm going to move on to the similarities between the book and the movie. So I noticed that mostly had the same characters, but it like changed like who was related to whose kid was who was married or romantically intact with who. And I have an example, and it's in the book, Valentine is Villefort's daughter, whereas in the movie, his wife is actually named Valentine. So it switches around the names quite a bit, and it's kind of confusing in the movie after you have read the book, because you have an idea of who all the characters are supposed to be and how they're related to everybody and how they're tied in the story. But in the movie, when it changes it all around, it kind of makes it kind of like confusing for its viewers, especially if they've read the book already. One of the other similarities I noticed is that the way that Dantes escapes the Chateau d'If is remotely the same, except for in the movie it happens a little bit quicker, which makes sense. And I don't know if you knew this, but Chateau d'If happens to be a real place. I got a picture. I think that's pretty awesome. It kind of reminds me of Alcatraz because it's like in the middle of water, and then even if you can see that, it has like the rocks at the bottom like it mentions in the book, and from when he falls into the water, it says that he crashes against the rocks and there's waves, and so the description's pretty accurate to what it actually is, and I think that's pretty cool. So in the book and the movie, they both contain a lot of revenge. The only difference I found really was that in the movie, it's kind of one after the other, like it happens really quickly, whereas the book, it's more patient. And then I noticed that although the two are like different producers, the themes remain the same in the movie, which is like revenge and heroism and love and all that stuff. And it's good that they kept all the same themes, or else it'd just make it a very bad like transition from book to movie. In conclusion, I'd like to say that I'd choose the book over the movie any day because it is way more in-depth and detailed than the movie is. But if you're the type of person who not like reading, the movie is pretty well adapted and similar to the book. And it's similar enough to understand the plot and the storyline that Alexander Dumas intended for his readers. So yeah, highly recommend the book, but if you don't like reading, movie rocks too. So thank you for watching my critic, I appreciate it. I actually enjoyed making it, and hopefully this goes well. I mean, ew. Also, what does your tattoo mean? Just please tell me, please. I just really want to know.